Hello, aspiring engineers. Welcome to Synapse, your ultimate learning companion. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of aldehydes and ketones, specifically focusing on their oxidation reactions. This topic is crucial for G Advanced, not just for direct questions but also for understanding multi-step synthesis. We'll start with the basics, then gradually build up to advanced concepts, complex mechanisms, and competitive problem solving. Get ready for an insightful journey. Let's kick things off with the easy level, where we'll cover the fundamental differences and basic reactions of aldehydes and ketones during oxidation. Ready? Oxidation in organic chemistry is a fundamental concept. Think of it as either adding oxygen, taking away hydrogen, or increasing the number of bonds to oxygen while decreasing bonds to hydrogen. For our aldehydes and ketones, it often means adding an oxygen atom right next to the carbonyl group. Now, here's a key distinction. Aldehydes, with their unique CH bond on the carbonyl carbon, are like eager participants, very easily oxidized. They readily convert into carboxylic acids even with mild reagents. Ketones, on the other hand, lack this CH bond, making them far more resilient. They put up a much stronger fight against oxidation, usually requiring harsh conditions that can even break their carbon-carbon bonds. This difference in reactivity is super useful for telling them apart. We use mild oxidizing agents for aldehydes. Take Toland's reagent, the famous silver mirror test. Aldehydes reduce silver ions to shiny metallic silver, while they themselves get oxidized. Then there's Fehling's solution, where aldehydes reduce blue copper ions to a distinctive red precipitate of cuprous oxide. Benedict's solution is quite similar. Ketones, under normal conditions, simply won't react with these. So, if you see a silver mirror or a red brick-like solid, you know you're dealing with an aldehyde. For example, propanol gives a silver mirror, but propanone doesn't. Simple, right? Time to test your understanding. Try these 3 practice questions. First, identify which of the given compounds will give a positive Toland's test and explain why. Second, write the balanced equation for butanol reacting with Fehling's solution. And finally, explain the fundamental reason why ketones generally don't react with mild oxidizing agents like Toland's or Fehling's. Pause the video, solve them, and then check your answers. Alright, let's step up our game to the medium level. We'll delve deeper into the types of oxidizing agents and introduce some crucial rules for ketone oxidation. At this level, we reinforce that aldehydes are easily oxidized, whether by mild reagents like Toland's or Fehling's, which are great for distinction, or by strong ones like acidified potassium permanganate or dichromate, which convert them into carboxylic acids. But the real challenge comes with ketones. They resist mild oxidation, but under vigorous conditions, strong oxidizers can break their carbon-carbon bonds adjacent to the carbonyl group. This cleavage leads to a mixture of carboxylic acids, each with fewer carbon atoms than the original ketone. This isn't just random, there's a rule to it. This brings us to Popoff's rule, a key concept for understanding ketone oxidation. When an unsymmetrical ketone is oxidized, the carbon-carbon bond cleavage preferentially happens in a way that the carbonyl group stays with the smaller alkyl group. Imagine two butanone, one side has a methyl group, the other an ethyl. Popoff's rule suggests the bond between the carbonyl carbon and the ethyl group will break, leading primarily to propanoic acid and formic acid. This selectivity is important for predicting products in complex reactions. Remember, it's about the smaller alkyl group staying with the carbonyl. Beyond C to C bond cleavage, ketones can also undergo a fascinating transformation called Baeyer-Villiger oxidation. This reaction, using peroxy acids like MCPBA, converts a ketone directly into an ester by inserting an oxygen atom between the carbonyl carbon and an adjacent carbon. It's like adding an oxygen bridge. The key here is migratory aptitude. which group attached to the carbonyl carbon moves to the new oxygen. Tertiary alkyl groups migrate more readily than secondary, then phenyl, primary, and finally methyl. This order helps us predict the structure of the ester formed. For example, cyclohexanone forms a lactone, a cyclic ester, via this reaction. Now, it's time to consolidate your understanding with 5 medium-level practice questions. Predict the products of pentene to -1 oxidation using Popoff's rule. Identify an unknown compound based on its reactions. Explain the core difference in aldehyde and ketone oxidation. Suggest a reagent for cyclohexanone to lactone conversion. Finally, predict the major product of 3-methylbutane to -1 with strong nitric acid. Take your time, apply the rules, and think critically. Welcome to the hard level. Here, we'll dissect reaction mechanisms, explore influencing factors, and connect concepts for a deeper understanding. At this level, understanding mechanisms is paramount. For Tollens and Fehling's tests, it's not just about the color change, it's about how the aldehyde's CH bond gets activated. In alkaline conditions, the aldehyde forms a hydrate, which then deprotonates to an alkoxide. This alkoxide then transfers a hydride to the silver or copper ion, reducing it while the aldehyde gets oxidized to a carboxylate. The alkaline medium is crucial for deprotonation and stabilizing the carboxylate. For ketones, we dive into the subtleties of Popoff's rule. The C-to-C bond cleavage isn't random, it often proceeds via an enol intermediate. Factors like steric hindrance and the stability of transient intermediates influence which bond breaks preferentially. Vigorous conditions can sometimes override strict adherence to Popoff's rule, leading to a mix of products. Let's break down the Baeyer-Villiger oxidation mechanism. It starts with the peroxy acid attacking the electrophilic carbonyl carbon, forming a tetrahedral intermediate. Then, one of the groups attached to the carbonyl migrates to the oxygen atom of the peroxy acid, simultaneously expelling the carboxylate ion as a leaving group. This migration is the heart of the reaction, and its selectivity is governed by migratory aptitude. Remember the order: tertiary alkyl is the most eager to migrate, followed by secondary, then phenyl, primary, and finally methyl. This order is based on the ability of the group to stabilize a partial positive charge during the migration step. We'll also touch upon special cases like the haloform reaction, a unique oxidative cleavage for methyl ketones, and the oxidation of cyclic ketones, which leads to ring expansion. Connecting these theories, the Baeyer-Villiger migratory aptitude relates to carbocation stability groups that can better stabilize a positive charge migrate more easily. For ketone oxidation, the formation of enols is a critical step, as enols are more reactive towards electrophilic oxidizers. The regoselectivity of enolization itself can dictate where subsequent oxidation occurs. We also need to consider side reactions. For example, if an alpha hydrogen is present and conditions are right, halogenation might occur before or alongside oxidation. Cyclic ketones undergo interesting ring expansions, forming lactones, which are cyclic esters. These interconnections are what make advanced chemistry challenging and rewarding. Alright, 7 challenging questions await you at the hard level. First, provide the detailed mechanism for butanol with Tollens reagent. Then, predict products for 2,4-dimethylpentene 3-1 oxidation, applying Popoff's rule. Outline the Baeyer-Villiger mechanism for acetophenone and identify the migrating group. Explain why phenyl migrates better than methyl. Identify an unknown compound based on multiple reaction results. Design a differentiation scheme for propanol, propanone, and propan-1-ol. Finally, deduce a cyclic ketone's structure from its lactone product. Good luck! Welcome to the hardest level, the ultimate test of your understanding for Advanced. Here, we'll explore competitive depth, engineering insights, and the subtle nuances of these reactions. At the highest level, we refine our understanding of reagents and selectivity. Beyond the common ones, consider silver I oxide, a milder alternative to toluenes for sensitive aldehydes. Then there's selenium dioxide, a truly special reagent that oxidizes at the alpha position of aldehydes and ketones, leading to alpha diketones or unsaturated carbonyls, a crucial tool for synthetic chemists. Its mechanism, known as Rayleigh oxidation, involves enolization followed by a complex series of steps including an Na reaction and a 2,3 sigmatropic shift. This precise control over where the oxygen is inserted is invaluable. We'll also briefly revisit chromium reagents, understanding their limitations and potential for further aldehyde oxidation. Let's dive deeper into the mechanism of selenium dioxide oxidation, also known as the Rayleigh oxidation. It's a beautiful example of how a metal oxide can achieve selective functionalization. The process typically begins with the ketone or aldehyde tautomerizing into its enol form. This enol then engages in an Na reaction with CO, where a CH bond adjacent to the double bond is activated. This forms an intermediate allyl selenium compound. From there, a series of rearrangements and hydrolysis steps occur, often involving a 2,3 sigmatropic shift, ultimately leading to the formation of an alpha-hydroxycarbonyl compound. This alpha-hydroxy product can then be further oxidized by CO to yield an alpha-diketone, provided there's still an alpha hydrogen available. This intricate mechanism showcases the power of selenium in organic synthesis for highly specific oxidations. The industrial relevance of these oxidations is immense. Take the production of carboxylic acids, acetic acid from acetaldehyde, or the vast quantities of terephthalic acid from p-tolualdehyde, a key building block for PET plastics. Baeyer-Villiger oxidation is not just a lab curiosity, it's used to make lactones, which are precursors for important polymers like nylon 6. In the pharmaceutical industry, selective oxidations are vital for synthesizing complex drug molecules. Even in our own bodies, enzymes like aldehyde dehydrogenases perform crucial oxidations in metabolic pathways, like detoxifying ethanol. These reactions are fundamental to both synthetic chemistry and biological processes. Understanding their mechanisms and applications allows us to engineer new materials and medicines. Stereochemistry and regoselectivity add another layer of complexity. In Baeyer-Villiger oxidation, if a chiral group migrates, its configuration is usually retained. The choice of peroxy acid can even induce enantioselectivity. Regoselectivity in ketone oxidation goes beyond Popoff's rule. Electronic and steric effects can significantly influence which C-to-C bond cleaves. For instance, a highly hindered alpha carbon might resist attack, forcing cleavage elsewhere. The concept of kinetic versus thermodynamic control is also critical. Kinetic enolates, formed rapidly, lead to different oxidation products compared to thermodynamic enolates, which are more stable. Understanding these controls allows chemists to steer reactions towards desired products, a hallmark of advanced synthetic design. Finally, the oxidation of alpha-beta-unsaturated carbonyls requires careful reagent selection to avoid unwanted reactions at the double bond while targeting the carbonyl. Alright, here are your first 5 challenges for the hardest level. First, design a synthetic route to convert cyclohexanone into 1,2-cyclohexanediene. Second, explain the role of enolization in CO oxidation and how it differs from Baeyer-Villiger. Third, predict the major product of 2-methylcyclohexanone with MCPBA, justifying regoselectivity. Fourth, identify a compound CHO based on iodoform and oxidation tests. And fifth, discuss the industrial significance of Baeyer-Villiger in polymer synthesis. These questions demand a deep understanding and application of concepts. Continuing with the hardest level, here are your next 5 questions. Sixth, compare the product distribution of 2-methylpentane 3-1 oxidation under kinetic versus thermodynamic control. Seventh, Propose a mechanism for 3-methylbutane to -1 yielding 3-methylbutanoic acid and ethanoic acid upon vigorous oxidation. 8th, explain why AGO is preferred for base-sensitive aldehydes. 9th, predict the major product of 4-phenylbutane to -1 with Baeyer-Villiger oxidation and justify. Finally, describe the general trend of migratory aptitudes and provide a theoretical explanation. Tackle these to truly master the topic. And that brings us to the end of our in-depth exploration into the oxidation of aldehydes and ketones. From basic distinctions to advanced mechanisms and industrial applications, you've covered a vast and crucial part of organic chemistry for G Advanced. Remember, consistent practice and a clear understanding of mechanisms are your keys to success. For more such comprehensive content and practice, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting chemistry lessons. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing your limits. See you in the next session.